Today on Dark Mysteries, we are covering this very weird story that had been floating around on the internet for a little while, but never made it mainstream because there was no real documentation to back it up. But recently, a journalist was able to acquire the very specific information that validates this story, and now it makes for one of the strangest dark mysteries imaginable. Welcome in, everybody, to this episode of Hometown Ghost Stories, Dark Mysteries. This is a mystery that is dark, that is not about ghosts, but it is very mysterious and definitely, probably paranormal. Definitely, probably. I am joined, as always, by Rob Coakley.
I am definitely probably here.
Yes, and also definitely, probably Jesse Wilkins.
This is definitely dark and mysterious, which is perfect.
It is perfect.
Probably haunted. Or not.
It's really not haunted. This isn't a ghost thing, but it is paranormal, so it falls under our umbrella, our very wide umbrella of interesting things to talk about. So
It's one of my favorite formats is me and Rob currently have no idea what this is going to be about. So we will be learning along with you as Dave tells us this ghost story.
I'm fairly certain neither of you guys have heard this. It is something that has been floating around in like Reddit forums where people would talk about this weird thing that happened. It was back in the 70s. It was in Mexico, and I think Rogan briefly mentioned it on one of his podcasts, but recently they got the transcript that makes this story insane. So it takes place in 1976 in Mexico, and there was this junior pilot named Rafael Pacheco, and he was working on getting his pilot's license. So he went to the air base that he was training at, and he was going out for a small routine training mission out of Chimalacán, Mexico. And basically what he was going to do was, it was going to be his first solo trip in a plane, and he was going to take off, fly in a big loop, and then land. And they basically just want to see that if you can do it without freaking out. So all he had to do was do this one trip that he had done a million times with a co-pilot. He just had to do it himself. So he's
I feel like I could do this by myself.
I feel, yeah. Well, in 1976, airplanes weren't really that complicated. I mean, they had their compasses, they had their landing gear, obviously.
It's just a joystick, right? It's just like...
You definitely sounds like someone that would absolutely crash that plane. They got a compass. I can figure this out.
They had like transponders and altimeters and speed indicators and whatnot, but they didn't have GPS or anything like that.
So this is coming from me who has never flown a plane before. But I will say that when I look into a cockpit on newer planes, I'm intimidated. There's a lot of buttons. Yeah. So I retract my previous statement. I think maybe you're onto something here. If they have a compass, Dave can fly it. That's everybody knows this.
I wasn't the one who made the claim. That was Rob's claim. I do not think I could fly, especially if they have like no GPS back in the 70s. I'm not good with maps, not good at directions, but
yeah.
It's a loop. It can't be that. It's not hard.
Well, we're going to find out how hard it was, actually. So he takes off, and he has this plane up there. And like I said earlier, he has no GPS, but a lot of flying back in the 70s was obviously you have your, altimeters and speed indicators and whatnot, but he had no GPS. So a lot of what they would do would be like, look out the window and look at what you're doing. So his loop was basically mostly to be done visually.
Like most of your job as a pilot is definitely looking out the window.
That's all you do, actually.
Like you should be looking out the window pretty much at all times.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably the best way to avoid other planes. But for the most part, you're up in 10,000 feet in the air. You're flying through a cloud. You have to be able to not look out the window and still fly the plane in the right direction. So, but back in the 70s, a lot of looking out windows. So he's flying up there, and all of a sudden this big blanket of mist rolls in and completely reduces his visibility to zero. Not a big deal. He still has his navigation equipment that he was trusting. So he's flying along, and after a little while, he starts to lose track of where he is. And he's like, shit, I gotta start this loop probably. So he radios into ground control, and he's like, I'm in this cloud. I can't see where I'm at. I'm thinking I have to start this loop now. Can you confirm? And nothing comes back through the radio. It's just dead air. So he's like, all right, I know I'm going to have to start turning left at any moment now. So he starts to turn his yoke left, but nothing happens. The plane doesn't move. It just keeps going at a steady pace, maintaining the 7,000 feet altitude that he was at in a straight line, but it won't turn left. He tries to turn it right. It won't turn right. At this point, he's not freaking out. He's just like, all right, the equipment's not working. So he picks his radio back up and he tries to contact ground control. And again, he's not getting anything. You'll get like a blip of static here and there, but basically nothing is going through. So he gives up on the radio, and now he's starting to get a little bit nervous. Up until this point, he's been maintaining 7,000 feet altitude and going in a straight line. So there's no real imminent danger, except at this point now, he starts gaining elevation. He's not pulling up on the yoke or anything. The plane just starts rising 7,000 feet to 8,000 feet to 9,000 feet to 10,000 feet. The blinding light of this white mist that's surrounding him is making him feel dizzy, and he's all of a sudden overcome by this overwhelming sense of fatigue, and he passes out.
Oh, that's good. If he's in there by himself.
Yep, he's in there by himself, and he is unconscious and just gaining elevation and unable to control his plane. So that's not good. Miraculously, though, he doesn't crash. He wakes up, but he has no idea how long he'd been asleep for, or how far he traveled, or where he was, or if the plane had changed direction. He was completely just in the dark, except he wasn't in the dark. One thing he did notice was that the mist had cleared up, and he noticed that he was back down, flying straight at 7,000 feet. So he's like, what is going on? So he looks out his window, and he notices that he's over the ocean. Now, this is weird, because where he took off from is a 3-hour flight from any body of water. So he was like, I was either flying for 3 hours, and I was unconscious for pretty much the whole thing, or I don't know what, or maybe there's a mysterious body of water that I had no idea, but it was such a big body of water. It had to either be the ocean or one of these massive lakes, and there was neither of those things anywhere near where he took off from. So the other thing was gas. If he was to fly 3 hours in that plane, the gas tank would have been long empty long ago. And he looked down at his gas tank, and it was still almost full. He had to use essentially no gas. So he's like, where am I? This is absolutely insane. And he was doing the math in his head. He looked at his clock. It was 11:30 in the morning, and he had taken off at 9:15. So he'd been in the air for 2 hours and 15 minutes. So mathematically, he's like, this makes no sense. There should be no body of water here. I have no idea where I am or how I got here. And if I had been flying for 2 hours, I would be out of gas. How do I still have a full tank? This is nuts.
Not only would he be flying for 2 hours, but he was unconscious for 2 hours, and the plane didn't crash. Like, that's, never mind the gas, which is wild, and the body of water, which makes no sense. Can you imagine falling asleep at the wheel of a car for 2 hours?
Yeah. Okay. So weird story. I used to work an overnight shift when I was in my early 20s. I think I was 21. I worked at BJ's, just basically stocking the refrigerator at night, overnight. Really depressing job. But I would drive home at 8 in the morning. I'd have like a 45-minute drive home. And it was brutal because I was so tired. I don't care how many overnight shifts you work. The human body is not nocturnal. You will never get used to that. So every morning I'd be driving home, and I would be completely just gassed, no energy, falling asleep at the wheel. And then one morning I did actually, like, on the highway, fall asleep. And then I woke up, like, I don't know how long later. I think I'd gone almost a full exit, and I woke up just going in the middle lane, going like 8 miles an hour, people honking and flying around me. I'm like, oh my God, but I didn't crash or anything. So I was super lucky.
Yeah. Driving while like dozing off is unbelievably dangerous, but it happens to, most of us. My instant reaction though, when I'm dozing off a little bit and somebody beeps at me because I'm like swerving or whatever, I'm always like, dude, shut up. But thank you. But shut up. Still, come on. Can I get a little rest? Can't get a little nap in?
Might have saved your life.
Yeah. Like, thank you. But shut up, dude. Still the Massachusetts driving thing. You're still like, don't beep at me. Don't save me.
It doesn't matter that I'm the problem.
These are my lanes.
I pay my taxes.
And as scary as it is to fall asleep in a plane, I think it's actually probably scarier to fall asleep driving a car on the highway. Because if you're in a plane, that thing's gonna go straight for the most part. I think. I don't know, but you're a lot less likely to hit something in a plane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, just the fucking ground, David. And then you die.
Well, no, but you got to think like
Or a mountain.
it's a wild thing to say because, well, car accidents are much more common, obviously. And I mean, shit. Well, I mean, dude, but if you crash in a plane, like you're just going to be dead. Crash in a car. I've been in plenty of car accidents. That doesn't mean that there aren't.
Well, think about it logically. If I asked you right now, so I'll give you an option. You can be you can be piloting a plane and you fall asleep for 5 minutes, or you're piloting or driving a car on the highway and you fall asleep for 5 minutes. Which one are you picking?
Yeah, it'd have to be the plane.
Have to be the plane.
Because it might take more than 5 minutes. Rob, you're a psychopath. You are.
I don't know how to land the plane. I don't know how to drive a plane.
I'm dead anyways. Put me in a car. Yeah, that's a good point.
This is a hypothetical, right? Hypothetically, assuming if you were able to fly the plane, if you were able to know how to fly a plane, which one are you picking in that? 5 minutes in the sky or 5 minutes on a highway? You're fucked on the highway.
Yeah, Rob, you've
100%
drastically changed your tune from 12 minutes ago, where you said that you can fly a plane. I can do it. I can fly a plane. To I am going to crash and die no matter what, awake or asleep.
I said I could do a loop. I didn't say I could land it. I said I could do the loop.
Well, my hypothetical didn't say you had to land the plane either. It just said which one are you going to fall asleep behind the wheel at for 5 minutes?
The
Plane.
car.
You're an asshole.
You are just an asshole.
Yeah. Again, this is coming from a person with zero experience, but I would assume that taking off might be a little bit challenging. You got to hit the right speed. You got to lift up at the right time. But I think once you're in the air, you're probably pretty good. It's probably not that hard. But I would assume that landing is the most challenging part of landing a plane.
Pilots, let us know.
Pilots, yeah, let us know. I feel like that's probably correct.
I think that's the thing. That's the thing.
There's no way landing is the easy part.
No, I think landing's the hard part. I think that's what they say in the movies and stuff.
I've watched movies.
Ever heard of movies? So Raphael's trying to piece all this stuff together in his head. He's just completely perplexed because nothing makes sense, nothing adds up. And that's when a voice bursts through his radio. And he frantically obviously grabs the radio and says, "Oh my God, I have no idea where I am. I fell asleep piloting the plane. I don't know where I am or how I got here." And he's on the radio with this guy, and he's like, "Can you please help me?"
I would have absolutely left out the detail that I fell asleep just in case it's like I'm lost.
Yeah.
I bet he left that detail out. I bet he was just like, I'm lost. I don't know where I am.
Yeah. I'll rewrite the story. Here we go. I have no idea where I am. I have no idea how I got here. I definitely didn't fall asleep.
Definitely not. Yeah. Never happened.
Yeah. And the voice comes back through and just says, "Are you in the plane alone?" And Raphael goes, "Yeah, of course I am." He's like, "I just have no idea how I got here. I was doing a training exercise. This is my first time flying solo." And he goes and explains everything. He says, "I don't know." He's like, "I have a full tank of gas. It makes no sense." And the guy's like, the voice on the radio is like, all right, calm down. You're over Acapulco, which is on the coast of Mexico, which is actually 3-hour flight from where he took off. And they're like, "Just land here and we'll sort it all out." So he's like, okay. So with all the plane equipment's working again, he's able to land the plane safely on the ground. Now, what the guy told him was, "You've actually been flying around the coast of Acapulco for an hour, just circling or over the coast for an hour,"
So
which means
3-hour trip,
Yeah.
2 hours later, and he spent an hour flying. So he got there in 1 hour.
in about an hour 15. Yeah, it took him to get from Chimalacán, Mexico, which is more central, to the coast, in Acapulco, which is a 3-hour flight. And he did it in a little over an hour. So nothing is making sense. It's completely insane. So he lands the plane, and he's met immediately on the tarmac by a whole bunch of black vehicles, and a bunch of guys in suits come on, and they detain him, and they put him in the car, and they don't explain to him what's going on. He has no idea what's going on. He's sitting there apologizing. "I'm so sorry. I don't know how I got here. Tell the Chimalacana airport that I'm sorry, about their plane and whatnot." And meanwhile, they take him to a hospital. And
I'm starting now. Forgive me if I spoil this, but I'm getting real Bigfoot vibes here.
yeah, yeah, you're on the right track for sure.
Yeah, Bigfoot's tall. He caught the plane, threw it really fast.
Yep, that makes sense.
The sheer speed knocked him out. Makes sense. And that's all we have for today, folks. Thank you for listening.
Solved another dark mystery.
So they bring him to a hospital and they immediately drug test him and do a tox screen on him, and it all comes back negative. He's completely sober. Then they bring in psychiatrists and they do like the psychiatric test on him to make sure he's sane, and he is. They all check out. He's completely lucid. There's nothing wrong. And they bring him in and they tell him exactly what happened. And they said, look, you showed up over the coast of Acapulco around 10:30 a.m. and for an hour you're just looping this area, and you are actually talking to air traffic control for a full hour before you snapped out of it and said, I don't know where I am or how I got here. Now, the interesting part of this story, and this was like the crazy part that was on the internet, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this legend, this thing that happened, there was no documentation for. This journalist recently dug up the transcript and the audio of this conversation between the air traffic control and Rafael Pacheco back in 1976. So it is in Spanish, so translated to English, the first part of the transcript is as follows. You hear air traffic control saying, hey, you just appeared on our radar. We have no idea how you got here or where you came from. What's going on?
Please tell me he orders fast food. I'll take a number 3, no pickles.
I want 42 cheeseburgers, 42 large fries. No, but so Raphael responded in this very deep, very monotone, almost robotic voice and said, the pilot is speaking, but not of his own free will. We are using him as a microphone. Your technology is too primitive. It is not important who we are or where we come from, only that we are inhabitants of the same universe.
Your technology is too primitive. We use people as microphones. You guys aren't even using people as mics right now? Idiots.
And then for the next hour, the voice projected through Raphael saying, humanity is the only intelligent species in the universe that uses warfare, and you are poised for a nuclear holocaust if you don't stop, and you may be extinct if it continues. Then at about 11:30, his voice changes completely, and that's when he says, oh my God, I just woke up. I have no idea where I am or how I got here. And nobody knows to this day how he got here. They examined his plane. Nothing was wrong with it. And the plane really did have a full tank of gas. And basically the government buried the story for 40 some odd years until this journalist uncovered the transcript.
What the hell happened?
I have the audio. If I can play it if we want. It's about 2 minutes long. It's like a 2-minute cut of it. And it's all in Spanish. So like I can play it if you want to hear it out of curiosity.
I very much want to hear it.
So I can do that. I can put subtitles over it for if anyone's watching. But
God, I hope someone's watching.
I meant watching and not just listening.
We can actually hear that since your computer just plays all audio through your stream anyways, so just play it.
Oh, okay.
El autorizado trópico a través de él mismo está transmitiendo este mensaje. Usted está haciendo la distancia a través del piloto, ¿correcto? Es correcto. Es únicamente está hablando porque así se les ordena. Esta es su voz, él está hablando, pero no lo hace por su voluntad. Lo estamos utilizando a él como si utilizáramos un micrófono. No importaba mucho el cómo de dónde partimos. Más de 40
So yeah, if you speak Spanish, you're probably like, wow, that was scary. And if you're like us and don't speak Spanish, you're probably like, wow, that was scary.
No, if you're like us, don't speak Spanish, you're like, wow, that was Spanish.
Yeah. So it's obviously not the full audio. The full audio is about an hour long, and I actually don't have the full audio. I just have this 2-minute clip, but it is pretty scary stuff. Pretty alarming.
It's very weird. I don't blame them for immediately drug testing him when he came down. Like, okay, this guy must have been hammered, fell asleep, and blabbered on about the nuclear holocaust or something going on here. Yeah, drug test this man at once, but it came back clean, and that's. I have no explanation.
Do we know if Raphael is still alive?
I don't know, but that's something that would be interesting to look into. So if he was young in this, probably he was a young pilot, so it was only 1976. So.
Now, would you put this on your resume? Because this is a weird thing where you have the rare ability to be able to sleep and safely fly a plane.
Oh.
So this is a positive because if you're the pilot, you can fall asleep and everyone's going to be fine. But you're also the pilot who falls asleep. Is it a positive? When he fell asleep, he flew successfully and really fast.
That's not what I thought you were going to ask. I thought when you said, can you put this on your resume, I thought you meant, can you put on your resume that you're a human microphone?
That one I'd leave off. I don't know if that would I'd probably leave off both.
Yeah. What does that mean? But the going theory is, and I think there's really just two possible options here. And the going theory is that aliens, right? Aliens, obviously we're talking alien life form. They basically said it. So some sort of technologically advanced alien species from somewhere else in the universe took hold of this aircraft and moved it to Acapulco for whatever reason, and delivered their message to this air traffic controller in Acapulco, this one random guy, and they delivered this very important message to him in Mexico in the 1970s. I don't know why. Like, if you have this message and you have the technological capability of taking over an aircraft and delivering a message through a human microphone telepathically or whatever, why wouldn't you deliver that message to somebody more important? Like,
right.
wow.
But maybe this is with their primitive or their non-primitive technology where they can use people as microphones, maybe their ability was that moment where he traveled through the mist, and maybe the mist was where it's like, all right, boom, there's the shroud. We could get our message to this guy, make fun of him for bad technology, but can't send an email to them or whatever, and then launch them into warp speed.
Here's my theory. I think that they took this plane and they zoomed it, transported it over to Acapulco, because that's where they thought the Beach Boys were, because that's all they ever sang about. And they thought that if they brought this pilot over, they were speaking to the Beach Boys, and then the Beach Boys would create a song with or maybe with not Charles Manson. We don't know. They were in cahoots occasionally at some times. And
it's a weird word to remember, but the word would be without.
Well,
but with not is fun too.
Well,
with not Charles Manson.
With or with not Charles Manson. They might have made a song that could have, made sure that there were no more nuclear weapons. And that was their plan, I think, was the aliens' plan.
Maybe. So the other option is this guy just did this with his voice just to get a message across or get attention or something. But the only problem with that is all the problems with that. How did he get there? How did he get there with a full tank of gas? How did he get there in that amount of time? Right.
Yeah, it's not even like he could have taken off earlier and lied about it. Like, air traffic control knows what time you took off. It's not like he could have landed the plane and fueled up and then gone back up. Air traffic control tracks that kind of stuff. That's their job. So,
and the timeline still doesn't match up either.
Yeah,
I mean, it has to involve the Beach Boys is the only thing that this story.
Yep. Either the Beach Boys or aliens, and the running theory is aliens, and the aliens could be on their way here right now, according to one Harvard scientist. Maybe you heard about this recently, but According to CBS News, Harvard scientist believes interstellar comet could be alien craft. We should put all possibilities on the table. I heard this because Kate was like, my wife, she was like, have you heard this, that aliens are coming? And she's like, I heard it on TikTok. And I was like, she's like, no, it's from a Harvard professor and CBS is reporting it. I'm like, okay, I'll read the article. So I have the article here. This is CBS News. Scientists are watching newly discovered object in space, and most of them agree it's a comet, but not all of them. A Harvard scientist who believes he's seen proof of alien life before suspects this object may instead have alien origins. Professor Avi Loeb says they are...
I thought his name was going to be like Waffle Man McDouble Splits. I was just expecting a real mysterious name.
I saw an article once. It was an article that says there are no signs of, or there's no evidence that there's an alien base underneath this fort in Texas or whatever it was. And the author of the article was Hugh Mann. It was like, you're not fooling me.
Professor, definitely not an alien.
Professor People Man, definitely a person.
Yes, but no, Professor Avi Loeb says there are clear signs that the comet known as 3I Atlas could be an alien craft.
Okay, well, don't name it so it sounds like an alien. You can't name your comet 3I. Like, aliens have 3 eyes. Everyone knows this.
It's the letter I.
Okay. Professor I in Green Man.
Professor Not From Space has said,
quote, we should put all possibilities on the table. That it's a rock, a comet, or something else until we get the evidence, the data that will tell us what it is, Loeb said in an interview with WBZ-TV.
Using human microphones to relay his information.
Professor Loeb and his team say the interstellar object is on an extremely unusual course for a comet, one that will take it close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter. Sounds like it's not going to be a fucking problem for us.
Those are pretty far away.
Yeah, not close. Loeb said the object appears to be intelligently directed, and if it's an alien, the world should prepare. So again, if it's intelligently projected and it's not going to hit Earth, how intelligent is it? And
should we be
pretty smart if it's not going to hit us?
Fair. But if we're suspecting that it's coming to visit us, but it's not going to cross our path, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Quote, I think that when we have a blind date from a visitor from another star, all bets are off, said Loeb. We shouldn't assume anything, and we should assess the risk given the data that we have. Loeb said the risk should be assessed using something like the Richter scale for earthquakes. I have no idea why.
The thing with earthquakes is it's right in the title. It's for Earth.
Yeah. I don't know. So hang on. There's a quote here. Maybe explains it. 0 would be a natural object like a comet, Loeb says. 10 would be an object that maneuvers as if it has an engine that is definitely technological. And then there should be some policymakers deciding on how to respond at that point. So he did explain.
All right.
If the Earth starts vibrating as it gets closer, that means the comet has an engine. And if it doesn't start vibrating, that means it's a comet.
Very smart person.
Yep.
All right.
Put all that together.
I and Green Man.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see all of the new reports, like the government saying that we do actually have information of alien life forms and UFOs and things like that in recent history. And, you know, Harvard scientists now saying that this comet could be an alien spacecraft. Who knows?
What's crazier is nobody cares.
It is wild. I care a little bit. I think it's a fun story, but like his own sentence was kind of goofy, where he's like, "We know it's either a rock or a comet, but it could be a spaceship." It's like, dude, like every other time it's been a rock or a comet, it's probably a rock or a comet. It's still never been a spaceship, you know. Yeah. But I don't know. It's fun though. I am a firm believer that there has to be some sort of life form on another planet. Do I think they've evolved into something smart enough to build spaceships and do all of this? Maybe. Can't rule it out. Do I think we'll ever meet them? I don't know. It's a big old space. There's a lot of space. It's twice the size of Connecticut.
There's no way for any planet that has a possibility of having life on it, which there are a few out there that are in the right position and place that there could be life forms on the planet, but they are light years away, and it's impossible to travel the speed of light. And so, like, even in like the best case scenario, even if you could go close to the speed of light, it's still going to take you like 100 million years to get here, even if you can travel that fast. Or
It's crazy that somebody, well, maybe this one left 99 million years ago, and it'll be here in a million years. All right, my math wasn't great on that off the bat, but
yeah, it's just, I mean, like mathematically, it'd have to be some sort of like eternal life form on another planet.
maybe,
But
or maybe
it's
they're, if it's a civilization and they have advanced technology, maybe they could build way faster rocket ships. Maybe they can go the speed of light.
No, you can't.
Maybe,
Only light can travel the speed of light.
well, you haven't met these aliens yet.
You don't know what other people can build.
It's just
Maybe they're
fact
fucking, maybe
is
they're literally flying on light bulbs. Do you think about that?
without defying physics. Only light can travel the speed of light. So, I mean, we are talking paranormal, so it would have to be outside.
You're talking Earth physics, Dave.
Yeah. So
No,
they're going
I'm
to shine
I'm talking
really big beam
universal
of light.
physics.
No,
and they're going to have light bulb surfboards, and they're just surfing on that beam of light, cruising. And they'll be here soon.
the
In
planet
1
of
million years.
Marnak might be able to travel however they want to. They might have a ladder that travels at the speed of light.
Yes, whether or not they,
Imagine if aliens just showed up on a ladder.
we never suspected a ladder. According to Mr. Loeb's report, that it could be a rock, it could be a comet, could be a ladder.
Yeah.
Could be a ladder. They're just pushing it, extending it.
I'm going to assume the Harvard scientist probably knows more than I do, but I do know it is a physical fact that only light can travel the speed of light,
Or whatever they're building on Marnak.
or whatever on Marnak.
Don't rule out Marnak. But it is interesting. Like, you look out at the stars, and like those are all suns from different solar systems and stuff. It's like, damn, it's a lot of suns.
Hundreds of millions of years ago, too.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, all the stars that you're looking at right now are likely to have all burned out by now.
Yeah, you're either looking at stars or like space trash. That's the other option. Space trash will reflect light and look like a star. According to our unreasonably smart brother Andrew, let me know that as we were gazing out at the stars, we were probably looking at trash.
Space Trash would be a great name for your next album.
Done. Doesn't take much to convince me. Well, luckily I made this really fancy UFO outro for no reason, and now we get to use it. That's so exciting. I'm excited for it. You excited for it? Anything else on this story?
No, that's it.
Let us know what you think, folks. What was he communicating with? Was he communicating with, what planet did you say?
Marnak.
Marnak. Was he communicating with life forms from Marnak, surfing over on their big old space ladder? Or was it whatever Dave's dumb theory was? Who knows? But that's going to do it for this dark mystery of hometown ghost stories. Enjoy this little UFO outro, and we'll see you next time on Tuesday for another live episode.
Peace.